Fresh from the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona, the Scuderia Ferrari team is preparing for the next round in Monte Carlo, one of the least predictable races of the championship. With Pat Fry, Scuderia Technical Director, we have put together a preview of Monaco race.
Several updates have been introduced in the last few weeks on the F2012. How do you evaluate their impact on the car performance?
There were certainly a lot of updates between the last two races. I mean, there was a slightly different geometry front wing, different floor, different turning vanes, brake ducts were different, bodywork was different, and a new rear wing. So I mean, a lot of effort had gone in the wind tunnel and in manufacturing. I mean, it's a good effort all round to get all the parts delivered to Barcelona. I think most of them worked as expected. There were a few things that we're still looking at now, trying to understand if they're working to the right level. I think, all the bits added performance, some just a little bit less than we were expecting. So all in all, I mean, I think everyone's reasonably happy with the update we made. Obviously, we've still got a long way to go. We just got to keep on working at a similar rate.
Fernando's second place was a fantastic result, but was it really the mirror of our level of performance?
I mean, it's obviously a good result. I think in the end, our pace in the first stint and third stint were quite reasonable, and we struggled a little bit more in the second and the last stint. It's nice to be racing at the front. I think in the end, Williams had the speed on us in the second stint and managed to jump us. So I think we just need to keep working as hard as we can to improve the car. I think we're flattered slightly by cars being out of position, but with qualifying so close and the strategy you adopt through qualifying, I think this is the first time that we've been in a situation that has been equal to all the other teams. I think everyone had one set of new soft tyres left, or no soft tyres at all, like Vettel. So it's, with everything so close, we've just got to try and get every last little bit of performance and not make any mistakes.
You mentioned the difference in performance of the different sets of tyres. How much unpredictable is still the tyre behavior this season?
It's certainly unpredictable. I mean, it varies with the small changes in track temperature have a large effect on the tyre performance. I think it was China where that showed up, or showed up the most. And it's also that they're quite sensitive to temperature, and they're quite sensitive to the way the drivers drive them. So on a normal three-stop race, if you're very, very careful on the rear tyres, you might be able to get them to last for a two-stop race, but you can't drive hard on the tyres, otherwise they degrade. So it's also a little bit, when you try and push the tyres, you tend to damage them a little bit. So when you're fighting in traffic, you take more out the tyres than you would do if you were running in clean air.
5 different winners on 5 different cars. How do you explain this unpredictable situation?
I think it is difficult to explain, isn't it? I suppose, I mean, it's good for the sport. I don't know how many years it's been, or if we've ever had, 5, it's not just 5 different drivers, it's 5 different teams. So, I mean, I think it does show that, the racing is all quite close this year. I mean, I'm sure it makes good entertainment.
Monaco is a special race for fans, for drivers who enjoy driving there. Is it the same for an engineer? Is it the same type of challenge?
It offers different engineering challenges, and you obviously need to set the car up quite differently for Monaco. In Monaco you don't really attack all the corner entries as hard as you would at a normal circuit, because there's barriers there and barriers at the exit. So I mean, you set the car up a little bit differently, but I mean, it's certainly a challenge. Again, sort of trying to get the tyres to work there and trying to get the right car balance is equally as difficult. So I think all circuits offer a good challenge.
What are the crucial factors for a winning car in this race in Monaco?
Well, obviously, Monaco is more about downforce and less about efficiency and engine power. So, it's you need the most downforce, and you just need a consistent car. So, the driver, I think you can watch the lap times improve through practice, and a lot of time just comes from the drivers learning the circuit and getting used to the circuit. So you just need a good, clean practice session and laps to try and get the driver used to the circuit.
And do you think the F2012 can have these characteristics in Monaco?
Well, we're obviously working to try and achieve that. I mean, I think we've got a few more small updates, adds a little bit more downforce to the car. I think the interesting thing, as we just mentioned, would be how each car uses its tyres.
From a strategic point of view, is it more of a challenge there than anywhere else?
It's not really, no. I mean, I think it's quite a short lap, I suppose, so your thinking time is reduced. But other than that, I mean, you're just looking at the normal things of, trade and tyre degradation against what the new sets are and where the traffic is, really. Obviously, Monaco is more about, you've got to try and keep out the traffic and get a clear run at the race. So, certainly if you're starting midfield, it's always a challenge. If you're starting at the front, it's a little bit easier.
Looking at medium term, how the F2012 will evolve during the season?
Well, I mean, it's just going to be a constant drive for updating, like everyone does these days. Excuse me. I mean, we've got obviously different rear wing and front wing package for Canada, which is obviously slightly different downforce level. And then we're working on, we're still working on the exhaust system. There'll be versions of that we'll test today. We learnt a lot at the start of the year in understanding, the problems that we had from that, and we had another go at Mugello, as some people would have seen. So I mean, I think we've got a good understanding now. But the performance, we're just trying to put the performance on the car as quickly as we can. So I mean, it will be a constant drive all the way through to the last race.
Diego Ioverno, Race Operation Manager, explains us the new look in the Scuderia Ferrari garage, which has undergone a major change compared to the old layout, aimed at providing a better working environment for the engineers, mechanics and drivers.
This year we have decided to introduce several changes in our structure on the track. One of the most relevant is the cars area that I'm going to show you. Obviously, for the guests of the team, we have a dedicated area in the middle of the garage where they can see from inside this box what's happening during the session, being, if they desire, in the complete privacy and without being in the middle of the operation, helping also the freedom of the mechanics. So we have done completely different choices from the past, both in terms of functionality, both in terms of design, trying always to privilege the style and the red, that is obviously inside our company the most important color, but also trying to be as functional as possible and keeping all the stuff and the external aspect of the garage always order and well functioning. We have decided also to review what we normally call the driver place, that is the position where the driver can sit before and after the session to speak with his engineers. Here we can see Fernando's position with his helmets, the seat, and is massively different from last year, both in terms of design of the stuff and the colors. Also the concept of what is normally called overhead, so the stuff that is on top of the car that supplies with the electrical power, air compressor, is completely different from last year. And the same we can say for the technician island, that is the place where the technician can stay with their laptop during the fire up of the car or during the preparation of the run. The other important change in this garage compared to last year's one is the telemetry area. That is where all the engineers stay looking at the data while the car is running. We have completely reviewed the architecture, the table, the position, trying to mix the design, so the aesthetical needed, with the most advanced technological resources available in the market to help our engineers in their work.
And now the world of Formula One as seen by the women who work for Ferrari Scuderia, a small but important part of Maranello team. What is your role within Scuderia Ferrari?
I'm an account manager for some of our sponsors.
I'm in charge of PR and marketing and the hospitality in each Grand Prix.
I'm one of the sponsors account manager and I'm also in charge of the Ferrari F1 branding. I work in Ferrari Motorsport press office and during races weekends I follow Fernando Alonso in all his media and sponsor activities.
I work at the logistics department and I take care of the team travels during the F1 season. I work in the Ferrari press office during the F1 races and in particular I take care of Felipe Massa during his sponsor and media activities.
What's your favorite race?
Australia definitely, because it's lovely, the weather is amazing, the background is unique. We really feel their passion for the F1 race, so they do a lot of events around us and we feel at home.
My favorite race is Singapore because it's the only race that takes place during the night, and for this reason, emotional and exciting for me.
My favorite race is Monza because I really feel at home when I'm there. My favorite race is Canada GP because I like the idea that the race takes place on an island and Montreal is a wonderful city.
My favorite race is the one in China, despite all the logistic challenges we had to face in the past. We don't have enough time to visit the city, but the little I saw, I really liked it. My favorite race is Australia because it's an amazing place and also the first race of the season. Everything has still to happen and it's like going back to school.
What do you like about your work?
Well, my job has never 2 days the one like the other. So we do so many activities from the contracts to activities on the track, events and so on, that the amazing thing is that we never get bored.
The team spirit that helps us to have a wonderful working relationship and with someone a special friendship.
I like to work with many people who come from different countries and I like to be involved in their activation plans. I like my job because it teaches you a lot. It's like a school of life and you can learn how to get away from home and have to deal with different people and sharing victories and defeats.
The favorite side of my job is the organizational one. The sensation that I really like is the feeling of being part of a team and sharing wonderful moments and sometimes more difficult moments.
What is the least favorite part of your job?
Well, obviously, as you can understand, there's a lot of pressure on our team, on our office. We have very ambitious targets, so sometimes being always under pressure is not that easy.
For sure, the jet lag in the overseas races.
I like to work with many people who come from different countries to be involved in the sponsor activation plans. I hate transcribing interviews. Sometimes the audio files are so compromised that you can take hours and hours to make clear maybe one small part.
I really hate when I have to catch a plane. I hate flying. We travel a lot and sometimes for long periods, so it's difficult to find the right balance between personal and working life.
How long have you been with the team?
I've been with the team since 2006, so almost 6 years. Time flies.
This is my 3rd season.
It's quite strange to say, but when I'm at the circuit, I would like to be also with my child. I've been working for Ferrari since 2008 and this is my second season on track.
I've been working with the team for 7 years and this is my 8th season, a lot, since 1993.
And your most enjoyable memory?
Well, I have to say honestly that the 1-2 we did in 2010 in Bahrain with Fernando and Felipe at the beginning of the championship has been something unforgettable.
My first race in Bahrain 2010, which was at the same time the first victory for Fernando and a second place for Felipe.
Of course, Monza 2010, the victories.
My best memory, last year in Silverstone we made a bet and the day after I won. I can't explain you, the history is too long, but it was great.
It was a Sunday afternoon after the Belgian Grand Prix and I had to drive to the airport in Liège to prepare the charter flight for the team to come back to Italy. When I saw a road sign with "Welcome to the Netherlands" and I realized that I had lost my way. Fortunately, I have now with me a GPS and I never travel without it.
My best memory goes back to Malaysia 2000 when we won the Constructor Championship and we organized a party at the track and we were all wearing fake hair red.